Hey everybody, this is just a little message before the actual episode starts up. Have to apologize, this episode was kind of choppy. Dad was having some problems with Skype. That's the problem when you're using a program like Skype, and it sucks sometimes, so we do apologize and hope you enjoy the episode. And remember to check us out at SithTalk.com.
Welcome to SithTalk, bringing you the news from Star Wars The Old Republic and beyond. With your host, Kevin and Dad. Join us as we explore the galaxy and take on the Republic in a galaxy not so far away.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of SithTalk. How's it going, Dad?
It's going pretty well. It's been a fun week in SWTOR. Apparently a really active week here on our podcast as well.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take care of some little house maintenance stuff. We are going like crazy up and down all week long with mass amount of downloads and moving up and down in positions. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've been building steam. We originally had our highest point being the top 25 on Podomatic, and we've actually moved up. We were then, I believe it was 9 earlier this week, or last week, and then of course we're right around number 20. So we haven't left the top 25 in the past 2 weeks, and right now we're approaching 300 downloads overall, which is really good. And it's not just here in the States. We're seeing everything from Australia. We've got the UK hitting us up with 32. We've even got downloads in Ghana as well as Norway and the Dominican Republic. So, I mean, there's people across the world that are really enjoying the sound of our voice, which is kind of cool to me.
And it's, speaking of Podomatic, we have been featured every day this week 4 to 3 times. I don't know what that means, but hey, I'm... and it started back on when we hit episode 2. No, it was episode 3. Once we hit episode 3, because you put us on that feed burner thing, and we just shot way up there. We're featured on this website multiple times a day, and it's really taken off. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen everything from, an increase of visits because of feed burner. I'm sure iTunes has played a big role in that. And then, of course, I've been listing us on Dig whenever I can. And, obviously we're on Facebook, so that offers us a bit more traffic as well. It's just really nice to know that there's people out there that want an alternative view of the game. And, we contrast some of the other podcasts that we listen to pretty well. So it's really fun to just see how we affect people overall.
Yes, and I will throw us up on Reddit. I don't know what that will do for us, but that'll be interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just been going crazy, and it's just been blown away on how fast it's coming and going with our podcast is shooting up and down. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nice to see the growth, and nice to know that what we're doing is appreciated. I would like to see a few more emails. It's nice to get a upgrade on Lieutenant Shinyside's original iTunes review to a 5-star, which made me really happy. And it's been a fun time. I mean, growing and learning everything we had to about the podcast, and seeing my Universal Hate Machine podcast grow in almost concert with our SithTalk podcast has really been exciting for me.
It's good stuff, man. Like I said, it's I like how fast it is.
Yeah.
So that's housekeeping. Not my. Oh, what's that?
Oh, I was going to say, since we're moving. We didn't play much, but did you get any gameplay in this week?
Yeah. So let's talk about our week. I guess I'll go. I didn't do much this weekend. I had really planned to play a lot more this weekend. Just really get caught up doing a bunch of other stuff. Today is my day off, so I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna play all day, and then being somebody that makes videos, every once in a while, I just get that video bug up my butt, and I need to do a video, and pretty much spent all day today in Minecraft making intros and working on a vlog for my YouTube channel. So didn't get much play in today, but this weekend I did hit 41, and I can tell it's starting to really drag out, and or not drag out, but it's really like you can tell now you're really going to have to grind to get where you need to go.
Yeah, I found on my bounty hunter when I got to Corellia that I wasn't, very far behind where I needed to be level wise, but
Yeah.
I did find that the mobs did get considerably tougher as the levels progressed.
And that's the thing is I need to just it's just like in anything else. I need to just push through it and go and because it was like it's in the beginning. It's like you're getting the level so fast and it's like do. Now it's like 20 quests in and it's like okay, just gotta take my time and do these quests and be good to go.
Well, and remember that when we hit 50, and I know as a guild we're waiting for more of our guildies to hit 50.
Yeah, which is happening soon. Isn't Vort's pretty close to hitting 50?
Vort is inside of 49 and closing in on 50 right now. He was actually asking that we delay the podcast just so that he could be 50, so that he could be announced as the new 50 in the guild. But it looks like he's definitely going to be the next one in line.
Yeah, unless I get it tonight. That's probably not going to happen. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about the game too. Is I really would say that if you are an altaholic and you want to jump between tunes, at least get one tune to unlock your legacy, just so that from that point on, and if you are jumping, you are actually helping your core account, so that you're getting those legacy levels, you're getting that legacy XP for whatever the fuck that is for. We don't even know yet. For all we know, it's going to give us a turquoise hat.
Oh,
which
one day we'll eventually find out exactly what that's about. They're saying that we're going to see more fleshing out of the legacy system in 1.2, so maybe that'll finally pop out here in March.
Well, so that's my week. How's your week been, man? What have you been up to? What are you doing in game?
Well,
or out of game?
Well, in game, I've really actually more or less avoided getting my gear together on my bounty hunter. I found the PvP gear system somewhat convoluted. It was a lot more aggravating than I was hoping for. I was expecting that, once I hit 50, it would, they'd start awarding me a different type of commendation, and instead, what I was awarded with was you do your PvP dailies, you get a bag, your bag has either these coins or this gear, and then the other side of it is you actually have to get higher up in the Valor rank before you ever see the really, really cool gear. And to be honest, most of my bounty hunter gear looks like boo-boo. But, I don't know. I think that it'll be nice. I did hit Legacy level 10, so hopefully they start rolling out that Legacy stuff and I can get some cool either items or ship stuff or, hell, give me a new race that I can play. It would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Increase that autism.
Yeah. And I've been playing on my Assassin quite frequently here. I actually had dropped the Assassin altogether. I wasn't going to play her anymore when I made the Sith Sorcerer because I wanted a healer. But then I got into PvP in between the Sith Sorcerer's PvP and the Sith Assassin's PvP. I've been having so much fun. I really haven't got a ton more done with that. My Sorcerer did recently just get her newest companion, the Azhara, the hot former Jedi Padawan chick, and turned her to the dark side. And of course, she's trying to say that she's going to stay steady on her Jedi beliefs, and I really don't care. I'm a Sith. I'm just trying to take over the galaxy all by myself. And Pseudo asked me not to bring it up because she thought it might be a sore spot with you, but when you were about 32 and you were going to do your last mission for Lord Zash, I came over on my bounty hunter because at that point I was quite higher level, and I went ahead and we took care of that for you. And then when Pseudo watched me solo it, she goes, "Oh God, don't tell Kevin, don't tell Kevin." And I said, well, all I did was I let Kev fight as long as I could. I kept him healed as much as I could. And then I just broke LOS every so often to make sure she couldn't kill me. And, I mean, the battle took considerably longer, but it got done, and that was kind of fun for me.
Well, I think a lot of it, too, was, I wasn't using a lot of the stuff I use now. I wasn't using my lockdowns. I wasn't using my abilities all the way. I wasn't silencing her, so when she was casting that AoE, I wasn't stopping that. And, it was at the time, because I was really just kind of oh, mash buttons, everything dies. Why is this thing not dying when I'm mashing its buttons?
Yeah.
And, now it's like, now I'm just running around. I'm like, oh, I need to do this 2-man heroic. Psh, I got this. I'll do this myself.
Yeah.
Because now I'm interrupting, locking down, healing, doing all that stuff that I needed to, which I should have been doing when I was, asking for help back then. And before it was just like, this pushing buttons is not working.
Yeah, and I mean, my only major, I guess, issue this week so far is that I have found that this game really does feel like the largest single-player MMO I've ever played.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. My sorcerer gets most of the jobs done. The assassin does her deal, and I find myself on my assassin. I've actually grinded. I was grinding up her. I want to say artifice, but I think that's right. The artifice on that character, and she's only just turned level 20, and I've already come within 40 points of maxing out artifice. So I actually went back and got a couple of gathering skills. I have archaeology and biochem because I'm starting to build up a cache for.
You know what? How is biochem? I thought about getting biochem on my juggernaut.
Well, I've just started the farming side of that profession, and I'm going to get the actual crafting side of it on hot chocolate when I start working on him again, because I don't think that's going to be the best thing for maybe my class, but given the fact that I have most of the armor crafting skills already taken care of, the weapons crafting skills taken care of. I need to look at augments, and I need to look at mods, and those are the two spots that I don't have filled. And from WoW, I was such an alcoholic that I had all the characters just so that I could have all of the professions maxed out on each one of them, so that I was kind of self-sufficient.
Yeah. Well, it's like I literally, like, before we all kind of quit, I was re-rolling. I re-rolled my Warlock just so because I didn't have, because you had stopped playing, and it was just, mostly just me left, and I needed, what are those stupid things that you could make on DAT? The glyphs. I needed glyphs, and I was not going to pay the prices, and I was not going to pay certain people's prices because they thought they could ruin the market.
Yeah.
So I literally just re-rolled that character just so I could have a character that has maxed out glyphing, which I ended up maxing out, and about the time I kind of stopped playing.
Yeah, and that's an interesting note for that is, in World of Warcraft, you eventually had to get to a certain level before you were able to get your professions maxed out, where on Star Wars they haven't put those odd stopgaps in there, so you're able to make things from zero to 300, and not have to worry about it.
I think I had splicing maxed out by the time I was like level 25.
Yeah, and you have enough money, you can send people for missions like nonstop.
Yeah, now that I got all my guys except my last companion, which I'm really waiting for because he's going to be a much better tank, I think. But I don't you can only send 3 out at a time. I was like, oh man, I want to send them all out.
Well, as you level up, and as Pseudo learned this one the other day, was as you leveled through, I believe it was up to level 40, you would then have 5 companions, and you could send 4 of the 5 out, counting the ship droid, of course, which Pseudo rarely does count, but it is, technically at that point 5. And when you get your final companion and you hit level 50, you're then able to send 5 of your 6 companions out. I mean, really, you could wait till probably 50, stack your chips and just do nonstop missions and grind any given profession as far as the gathering or the mission-based professions all the way up once you hit 50. So you really don't even have to pick up a crafting profession straight away or start leveling your crafting profession because money does kind of rain from the heavens at that point.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's the thing I think I'm finding that if I actually take my time and do the quest, I actually am getting more money instead of doing my WoW grind fest. Which doesn't pay off. I mean, it's like before I hit 41, I was like, okay, I jumped on, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna grind for a little bit, and I was doing I went back to Hutta or no Haunt, whatever the heck that ice planet is. Had like tons of mobs just AoEing down. I was like, why am I not? And then after an hour. I mean, it would probably have been so much faster if I had actually just done the stupid quests.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I wish someone would get on top of. When I was in WoW, there was the WoWprofessions.com where I would go and I would check the maps for different types of nodes based on the profession I was trying to grind up. And I don't actually have that luxury on this game because no one's gotten to the point that they put a map together for it. So that's kind of been a pain in the butt.
Oh, you mean just to get it faster?
Well, just to get the parts because, sometimes hitting the auction house maybe not the best thing for me that day. I want to go out and actually get the parts together because I've got two different people who need archaeology. I have the Synth Weaver and then I have the Artifice. And it would be nice to just know where I could go and get a few nodes here and there. And who knows, maybe there's
only if the game had mods.
Well, even that, though, wouldn't have exactly helped because then you'd have to have a database of the mods.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Torhead would have put out a database just like they did for Wowhead.
Well, and that's possible, but that then would depend on two separate mods because if you remember correctly, in WoW, even if you had Gatherer, you needed to go and get the somewhat antiquated link to Wowhead that gave you the database. If there wasn't someone else who had already farmed it up. Now, in a plus side news, I started recording a few videos.
So we're gonna move to news?
No, not just yet. I had one last thing. I was dicking off on my sorcerer, and I actually went into the wrong hangar to find my way back to the fleet because at that point, my Sith assassin hadn't been.
I was going to ask you about
got their ship. And I went over to Docking Bay D71 and actually ran into my first Datacron. Unfortunately, it was for strength, which made me feel like a complete idiot. But I ended up going back on my Juggernaut and getting that, and it kind of got me interested in searching out a few of the Datacrons on Drummond Cos, I always correct pseudo. But I went on to Drummond Cos, and I got the strength one for my warrior. Then I went behind the one encampment and got the endurance one for him because he is a tank. And just for shits, I went ahead and found the presence one. And of course, presence, for those who don't know, is basically a way to buff your companions because they don't see anything from your initial Datacron. What they do see, though, when you get presence is their abilities seem to be magnified by the amount of presence. It's kind of like you've kissed enough ass, they're going to do good by you. Unfortunately, Lanier told me he had gotten quite a bit of presence, but unfortunately still his healer was a complete retard who kept healing himself while Lanier died.
Well, let's move out of that because I want to talk about Datacrons too. Let's move out of your weekend. Let's just talk about them in general. Your video, did that go up?
I don't know what happened in post-production, but when I did set it up to YouTube, for some odd reason it wasn't playing any audio, so I actually have to go back and re-record those, which kind of pisses me off.
Oh, yeah, YouTube is great for that.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah. So I'm looking here. So basically, to break down the Datacrons real quick, is blue is willpower, green is endurance, light green is aim, red is strength, yellow is presence, and orange is cunning. I got a little obsessed with the Datacrons, and I got the same one you did. I got it on my my sorcerer. I could care less that it was strength because I got an achievement out of it, and that was more important to me. I don't know why, but as I was going through and kind of looking at the list, I was noticing that maybe I didn't see that many willpower ones that I could find. Maybe I just need to go back and I'm actually on holocrons.com, and there actually is quite a few willpower ones.
They're supposed to be spread out so that they're even for each specific game or specific need. So
Yeah.
all of them should be about even.
But what finally killed me on it was the goddamn jumping around. Like it was just like, really, do I really need to do this? I had got one on Hoth, and I thought it was really cool. So I'm like running around, climbing up a secret path, going up this long tunnel, going into an actual trash compactor. I get the Datacron, and there's a broken slot machine there, which is a key to unlock the next one. And I like that there's little things like that, but it's also kind of annoying because if you don't realize that and you're just kind of like, oh, look, it's right there. So I go into the next one to the slot machine, and I don't know what it is about this pipe. I tried for an hour to jump, and it was just like, fuck it. I don't need it. I don't care. You know, it's just like, ugh.
You fail at Mario Brothers. It'll be okay.
I do. But, you know, it's little goofy things. It's like, come on.
Well, you know, Lanyard is going from planet to planet and basically trying to get his main storyline done and a few oddballs like heroics done. And he was actually chasing one down on Terrace the other day, and he couldn't figure out like why he couldn't make the jump, but he literally watched two other guys get right through it in no time at all, and he was just flipping out. He's like, you know,
is that on his Republic character?
No, it was on his Sith side character, his Imperial character. Because he was on in the guild, so that's the only reason I know that one.
Yeah, because Terrace on this website is a Republic only.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm
maybe
looking
that's
here.
Why he couldn't get to it.
Maybe. Yeah, I just sent you a link to all the planets. Oh, that's really cool. This little planet list here. But yeah, that's a little rant about freaking holocrons. Just, ugh.
Well, I mean, I find them really useful, especially if you're trying to min-max. And in this game, there's very little to min-max. So
yeah,
there's the fact that you can try to get them at the appropriate level or go back through and get them little by little, which is a major plus.
Well, and to it, it's like, in all reality, you're going to need to have them. I mean, and at the end of the day, you can enchant all you want, but these little points are what's going to help you in the long run, because it's gonna be like that gear score for like, did you get all the holograms for your thing? No. Well, why don't you get the holograms and then come back and try? And you would think 2 or 3 points doesn't add up, but when you're getting 4 or 5 of these at a time, it does kind of add up after a while.
Yeah, it's a nice stacking bonus to you, and it's something that adds to either mid-game play or even in-game play, because some things require, taking down world bosses, to get specific types of color crystals that, max out crit or max out power or strength, and like I said, all of the side attributes that you normally would get. I mean, yeah. I find myself trying to make purple gear on some of my characters just so that I can get a purple to one of my other characters, so that you could basically have what we used to call a twink in WoW.
Yeah.
And that makes your missioning a lot quicker, and getting the holocron here and there is going to add that possible bonus stat that's really going to make life a lot easier for you as you're leveling up, or make PvP or in-game a lot easier for you and the group that you're with.
Yeah. Well, and just, I mean, every little extra stat you can get your hands on will make your life easier, and being able to kill those bosses or whatever you're doing, easier.
The funny thing is, though, with the ones on Drum and Cost, they're so, I'm going to say, relatively easy to get to. Like, you don't even have to think, but there was nothing really to fight other than to get through the base for, I believe it was the one for Presence. It was the one for Endurance. The one for Presence was literally, I'm going to walk up this hill, and if you paid attention to the background, you realize there was this little hidden path that you can get up to, and sure enough, it led you there. Whereas some of the other ones require tricky jumps. Even the one in the docking bay required me to walk on a pipe that I was almost having to go into first-person mode to actually view.
Yeah, I had to go to that one, too, to do that.
And that doesn't irritate me. Like, I don't like being in first person. I enjoy the third-person view. I don't care for looking at the back of my character's head all the time, but I'm also not, like, I would say Elder Scrolls like, because in the original Elder Scrolls it's always been first person view. It wasn't until Skyrim that you could actually pull the camera out that I know of, so that you could see your whole character.
Well, what do you think about some of the ones like Mort went and got that one out in Tatooine, where it's like a 20-minute ride on an airship?
Well, once again, it's one of those things where it's up to you if you want to do it. Is it worth it? In the long run, it probably is. If it's not going to be a stat you need, then, it's something you can help a buddy with, and it will, in part, help with the online community.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if everybody's going to want to go do it. I know that, Lanyard has asked for help a couple of times so that he could be able to get to where he needed to with minimal, I'm not going to say minimal effort, but, with minimal aggravation.
Yeah. Well, it does make it easier if you have people with you. It makes it a lot better in the long run.
Yeah.
And it makes it more enjoyable, because then you guys can just BS as you're doing it.
And it gives you the opportunity to build into some of the adventures that we felt that we had in World of Warcraft, which was what made that game, stand out for us so well.
Yeah, so that's holocrons. They're fun. It's if you have the time to get them, and it's. I will say you're going to need to get them in the long run. I mean, you can go without them, but after a while, you're just going to have to get in and get them because the stat bonus from them is is good.
It's a quality of life thing. It's just like, do I or do I not upgrade the mods in my gear because I have artifice gear, or when I'm crafting, do I try to go for purple? It's a quality of life thing as far as the game is concerned. And if you're an RPer, it builds into your own storyline. If you're interested in additional portions of lore, each time you unlock or holocron, you actually do get another little tab in your book about the different pieces of lore that maybe you actually were interested in, so you don't have to search the internet. Well, you got to do something in between, PvP matches, or should I say, football fun.
I just watch Netflix. Let's see. Do you want to talk about anything else? Do you have anything you want to bring up at all before we jump into the news?
I have been spamming Trade Channel on our server, which is Port Nowhere, trying to find someone that had a bit of additional information, because while you and I do supply the majority of the information for the game, I would like to see somebody else from the community, whether it's from Port Nowhere or from another server, that has an edge up on us as far as PvP goes, or has some insight to PvP. I'd love to see someone drop in a submission for that, because I've been playing a lot of games, and one thing that still seems to hold true is the talking at the beginning of the match. If it's not going on, it does, it's not necessarily going to be a successful match. And the other thing with PvP for me right now.
So basically in the long run, we would like somebody to, if you've got PvP knowledge and want to share it with us, write up something and then record it and then send it in, and we'll throw it into the show. Because, it seems like a lot of people are doing PvP in the game, because it just seems like a quick source of money and a quick source just between okay, well, I'm pretty close to leveling. I'll do a couple of matches of PvP. I know when I hit 20, I did all PvP so I could buy the level 20 PvP gear, so that when I started on to my next planet and questing, that I had some pretty up-to-date gear. I didn't do it so much at 40, which I probably should, but I...
You can, if you did have artifice gear, from your level 20, because there are a few pieces here and there, you can always mod them up if you like the look of them. I really do enjoy, for the better part, most of my level 40 gear for my characters. And that's why I keep going for the PvP gear. You could probably get something equivalent through world drops or quests, or even crafting if you put your mind to it. But being able to get those easy items, at least up until 40, are really helpful.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, we had so that's the PvP stuff. Somebody send in some stuff. We'd appreciate it. And you don't have to be from Port Nowhere. Just if you like PvP stuff, go ahead and send it in and record yourself, and we'll play it. And, give you all your credits and everything. So we did have a question and answer, or a Q&A on March the 2nd, which really didn't really have much information. It had the typical, we're working on it, maybe next patch. There was the one we were talking about, will our ships ever get will our ships ever upgrade to include a mailbox in the Galactic Trade Network? Like you said about how it's the thing like with WoW housing, like, why take that out of it? Part of going to the Galactic Trade Network and all that stuff is, because it's an MMO.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't play well into the PvP side of things, which is the frustrating part. I see the idea that a mailbox would be helpful, but, I was joking about it earlier. When Leia was trying to send out her message, she had to put it in a droid and hope to God he fell on the right planet. It's not like there's an intergalactic mailman who's just riding around.
Well, and that's like how Leonard was telling us in Eve, you actually had to, if somebody put a piece of mail on, like, at one planet, you actually had to move your butt all the way over to that planet.
Yeah.
Just to get to it.
On Eve, if you wanted to learn crew skills, if you wanted to, get mail or list things on the global network for them, or, the galactic network for them, you had to go to a main shuttle, or a main space station. There was no, I'm just going to jump in my ship and learn all this shit. So let's be happy that we have something like the fleet to go to, or the fact that there are auction houses available on just about every planet, at least every Sith-controlled planet in our case, and I'm sure it's the same on the pub side. And now, as far as the mailboxes go, I'd like to see more in the world in general. I don't need one on my ship, because that
But do you think that the mailbox technology is kind of dumb in this game? The fact that this is a space game, I can pull out my hologram, get a message from somebody who's like 20 light years away, whatever, but I have to go to a mailbox to pick up junk. It can't just be delivered.
Well, see, no, I don't have a problem with that, because we're talking about a difference between, communication. That's like saying, well, I couldn't get an email because I was out in the sticks.
Yeah.
You're able to receive things from the holocoms, but why would you think, like, we're talking about a physical mail? You could never get that delivered. There's always going to be a need for a delivery service. And your ship, like I said, it's not like you're going to be flying through and the galactic mailman's going to pull up next to you and drop one off of your cargo bay.
I'm just thinking, that's crazy. Yeah, so you know what? Your ship is mostly there for just be happy you can walk around your ship and do stuff in it. It's not like in Star Wars Online where you just see the outline of your ship.
But as far as Damien Schubert goes, of course, he says on one hand, we'd really like to make the ships richer and more useful, and on the other hand,
this is the guy answering the question.
Yeah,
to the
one of the lead devs or lead game designers, and he says we also want to be sure that the fleets feel like vibrant centers of the game community. So the answer is yes. The feature is coming in 1.2. As features you can unlock as part of your legacy system. So,
okay, that's kind of cool.
I mean, that may help out. I'm still wondering how that plays out, because now I look at it from a basic game standpoint. I also look at it from an MMO and then the RPG side of things. Now, if you played it into your legacy system, maybe, one of your guys is really good with the market, so he's got some people who can run it. Bounty hunters and smugglers are there for a reason. They're able to get things from point A to point B a little easier than the regular Joe Schmo would be able to. So maybe the legacy system will help that out. At what levels that those items become unlockable, or if they actually come out in that fashion, is going to be the question. Because if the Valor system has 60 ranks, the leveling system has 50, where does Legacy stop off?
Yeah. Who knows, man? They'll just keep adding to it just because it's something. It's like, okay, well, you need that XP bar. We'll just throw an XP bar for that.
Now let me ask.
What's
let
that?
me ask you about this one now. The Trey lady proposed the question of having something that announces in guild chat when you level. Now, I remember having ding mods in World of Warcraft, and they were basically ding and counter ding mods, so that, you know, if someone announced it, then you immediately just said grats, or, you know, you had a canned response to it. Do you think that even matters? Do you think that's helpful?
Okay, the thing with I feel about the announcement of an achievement, since we really kind of don't have achievements in the game, it's just hologram. I don't think it's a big deal, but I would like to see it on a more you dinged 20, you dinged 30, you know, on an actual number. The dinging 1 through 50, I think it's a little ridiculous, and I dinged 15. Okay, good for you. I'll start giving. That's like I had a thing where I wouldn't grat anybody until I at least dinged level 20, because there's no point. You know, you're not really gonna play the character until then. So when I get told every 5 minutes about how somebody's dinging, or if somebody's like, and I was like, oh, I just dinged 28, or I'm like, 28. Wow, what did you get? More health. Okay, grats. I don't know. Give me a 10 level 10 dings. You know, like throw it up there when you hit. Maybe not so much 10, maybe 10. Who knows? 10. You know, do it in 10 increments, and then I'll take more notice to it. But between them, I don't care a shit.
Yeah, because I remember when we were playing World of Warcraft, I would roll a new alt, and because of all the leveling gear, the fact that I played so much, I would ding, you know, every couple of minutes, and it's like, oh yeah, yay me.
I just started ignoring you because I didn't give a shit anymore. So what do you think? Do you think the 1 through 50 or what?
You know, honestly, I think that having the system announce it to your guild is kind of lazy ass. I mean, if you're actually proud that you hit that level, it doesn't take that much to hit the button and say ding. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not something that is a quality of life or a necessity in the game. I don't see why you would prioritize that over so many other things that could be available to a guild or a social system. That just seems really nominal. Yeah,
it seems like there's better stuff to waste their time on. Like I do like here. So here's another question that was asked: characters staying within the neutral or the gray alignment, being able to access exclusive items like you can if you go all the way dark, all the way light. When I do play my Jedi, I do plan to play them as like a Qui-Gon Jinn, as a gray type Jedi, where it's kind of in the both, because I don't want to be back and forth, going. I don't want to choose just good and dark side. I mean, I might do all dark just to be a douche, but
Yeah, I don't know. I play all dark side on some characters. I play all light on the others. So.
Yeah. So. Well, it's like we were talking about the bounty hunter. Bounty hunter kind of stays in the middle because he's doing good or bad both times. And there was another one here. It's like I said, most of these Q&A, this week's Q&A is really kind of just any chance ability to lock in our camera angles. Okay, maybe someday.
Well, see, I don't even like locking my camera angles because I'm constantly swirling. Like on my assassin, I'm constantly going all around the characters. So, it's not the camera's locked behind your head. All you have to do is pan left or right.
Yeah, I guess I haven't noticed. Like I like it. It's fine with me. I just tag and then start shooting lightning bolts at my fingertips, and then I move on to the next person when they're dead.
Yeah, and you do. Once you've tabbed it, and you start casting or you start shooting, with the exception of melee, your character automatically turns and faces the person you're trying to swing at. So it's not a big deal. And more than likely, the guy is apparently, one-handed because he can't figure out how to work his camera and his character at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you move with your mouse and you run with your keyboard.
Yeah.
So here's one I think is kind of important, and I guess I never really noticed it because I'm often on the game such an odd times, and that is the question was asked: any plan to improve a regular maintenance time? And their basic response was, at this time, there's no plan to implement this. And you know what? I didn't even realize that there wasn't. I just always thought it shut down on Tuesday, like WoW did, and never really or Monday, like I just never really paid attention to it.
Well, I mean, I think the region by region thing is because of the fact that those playing on on overseas servers, they're technically in a different time zone, so it's inconvenient for them, so I can understand that from a user perspective. But, I mean, in my eyes, I don't have any issues with it because while server maintenance is going on, I'm passed out on the couch or in bed, not even thinking about it. Some nights, if it's only an hour or two, it doesn't impede my gameplay if I'm up, till the early hours of the morning here in Central Time. If it's, going to be like 8 hours, then normally I'm just passed out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, let's see. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever it is, you should look at maintenance time as a time to get up, take a shower, stretch your muscles, get out, restock. That's what you got to look at maintenance is restock time. Okay, I got a week's worth. Now I will restock. It's time to restock for the week. Maybe if you have a girlfriend or a wife, let them know you love them, and then you'll see them next week.
Yeah.
Maintenance time, I think, is really not so much that that's when they need to do things. It's more of their way of get the fuck off our game and go do something for about 2 or 3 hours so you don't kill yourself from sitting in your chair. Because people do that. They die sitting in a chair because the blood flow doesn't get out from under their legs.
Well, and I mean, maintenance is maintenance. If you take it out of the game, I can understand. What I would emergency maintenance, that does kind of get a little frustrating from time to time. But we're not seeing any more or less maintenance than we would have in any other MMO we're playing.
But so far for me, the only time I've seen emergency maintenance is when it was actually kind of a maintenance emergency where it was when people found the bug out on Ilum when they were doing all that stuff. It's like, oh shit, we got to shut this down and fix it now.
Yeah, and stuff like that I can understand. But sometimes it's just random bug fixes that they'll shut the servers down for an hour and then it's right back up again. And that gets a little aggravating.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. The other one is accuracy, blah, blah, who cares. In last week's Q&A, you described upcoming changes to the crafting system. Yeah, like I said, not really important. If you wanted to look all this up, you can go to SWTOR.com, blogspot/community Q&A. And that's really just it. So hopefully we'll get some more. Well, we should get more this week because starting today is what I personally think is retarded, is the Guild Summit. I think it's a little, hey, we're cool, look at it, we're going to have our own kind of BlizzCon thing. And that starts today. Actually starts at 10 Central is the welcoming and introduction. Are you going to watch this? Because I think they're going to stream it live on Twitch TV, if I remember right.
Well, I mean, if I'm able to, I will. I don't find it to be something horribly detrimental to me, being that they were supposed to offer the invites to every guild every guild master in the game. You would have thought this would be much larger, but from what I've heard on other podcasts that I've seen from posts, they're really only including maybe a tenth of the people at best. It does kind of feel like a mini BlizzCon, but without the fact that they basically have one game to tout and one game to get feedback. Does it help the community being able to see the developers face to face and have a one-on-one? Sure, it does. But these are still just their way of doing, market research in a condensed scale without having to pay anybody. I mean, everybody who's going out to this is putting down their own, their own dollars for everything that they're going to go and do. It's free, which...
Well, no, but it was a free invite. And who's to say Pseudo, who's our GM, didn't want to go to this? I mean, not to say that she would, but it's still that thing that maybe she has some endpoint, but because we're not a huge guild, we're excluded.
Well, see, no, they said they took large guilds and small guilds to this. And, of course, the eventual press releases on it will be the real truth teller. But, when I look at it, it doesn't really matter because most of the guilds that got invited were pre-launch guilds anyway. And these
were a pre-launch guild.
Well, no, not technically. We weren't pre-launch because
you had to have a website.
Yeah, you had to have at least 5 members in your guild prior to launch, and you had to have basically formed a guild because that was your way of reserving the guild's name.
I don't like it because it seems very we're going to pick the cool kids. And that's just the way I feel about it. I think it should have been something that this should have been done through the community, not just popular people or people who, I don't know. I don't like it.
I'm more concerned with how fast it came out. Like, they were talking about it in February. It's, done and over with, or nearly done and over with, in March. And it was only a, weekend event. But the question becomes, were they quick to snap to because they wanted to get input, or were they just throwing it down because they were running into so many problems that they needed to find out how to fix it from the community?
But I think I guess my problem with I feel it's very isolating of other people. Like maybe something might come up. I think this could have been different. I don't think that they should have. I think it's too quick. The game hasn't even been out 6 months yet, and it has its own mini little conference that's exclusive to a handful of guilds who, for all we know, might decide the future of how the guild or the game system works. And most likely, all these guys are going to say the things that we want anyways, because what we want is some pretty universal ideas like, oh, I don't know, that I can right-click on your name and invite you to a group. I mean, I mean, come on, stuff like that. It's, I don't see that they're going to go there and be malicious and be like, oh, well, we should only allow guilds with more than 500 people to have access to special stuff. But who's to say that doesn't happen and stuff like this gets passed and then it's like, well, fuck, now we all have to disband and make one big guild just to get exclusive stuff.
Well,
I don't know. I don't like the idea that it was exclusive to certain guilds. I wanted SWTOR to go. See, that's it.
Well, I've been to Texas, and while I think SWTOR might have liked it, I can't say that, she would have wanted to go as much as, maybe one of the other founding members would have enjoyed it. I look at the Guild Summit as a precursor. They can do inadvertently with the Guild Summit if they continue to have it on an annual or semi-annual basis, is they give a chance for a massive opening to the community, and they will build a local social network, much like you have the meetup group there in Oregon for, WoW. You could see the same thing end up happening with the SWTORs, where you're going out and meeting up with friends and other people who play and may not be on our the survey that you're on, but they have information that maybe you don't.
I'll tell you what, if they get some kind of bullshit ambassador title, I'm going to be fucking pissed. If they get, because I just have every character on WoW had the ambassador title, and I'm going to be pissed if I can't get that title because our guild wasn't invited to this.
Well, it'd be funnier to see it as just the GMs getting that title. Because then you've got to swap GMs.
I'm kicking SWTOR out. I'm taking your job, SWTOR. If you don't like it, too bad. Safan must have the ambassador title.
2 games running, buddy.
That's right. No, I don't know. I guess it's just, and I don't mean to be ranty. I was told that I rant too much and I complain. I'm sorry that I have an opinion and it's over the top sometimes. Which is so funny because for you're usually the one that's going crazy and you're like, no, what are you talking about?
Well, when we got done, when I finally stopped playing WoW, I just become so jaded by all the things that were in there. When I first started playing, it was a game that was very much, do your homework, learn the game, learn your character, and earn everything. And by the time I left, they were pretty much giving things away like free candy on Halloween. Your purples came fairly quickly. If you had, meager gear, you went in with a couple of buddies or just jumped in, the looking for group. and immediately went into the next biggest instance and got tons of money.
Yeah.
Or tons of gear.
So we are going on about 50 minutes now, so maybe we should jump into the news. So let's do that right now. Okay, so what's the first thing you got for the news, buddy?
Oddly enough, it's a dry spell for news this week. We had the Q A that we went over earlier, and that's pretty much it. We're still waiting on more information about patch 1.1.5. Hopefully dropping soon because we were promised 1.2 earlier in the week.
Yeah, that basically is the news. The Guild Summit's today. Mm-hmm. The Q&A. So really not much going on news-wise.
Yeah, it's been an unfortunate week as far as news is concerned. And hopefully I'll be able to start working on the Hot Chocolate Chronicles here in the next week. I do have school coming up, so I don't know how that's going to affect my gameplay and, of course, the segment production that I'm working on. But I did buy Mixcraft as a whole, so I should be able to get the nice 70s porn music I wanted for that background. And ironically, I didn't realize it till I looked at my core studies, but I'm going to be doing writing proficiency, so maybe that can end up counting towards my credits. I'll have to check with my teacher.
There you go. So, I was thinking maybe just shut it down here soon. Let's just kind of go over some stuff we want to do for the site, and how, since we are growing so fast, some ideas that me and you at least have been throwing around about a website and stuff like that.
Well, I know we were discussing actually picking up a full-time website from GoDaddy, because Podomatic is serving us well, but we do want to get as much exposure as we can so that we can continue to grow. And I think that getting listed with GoDaddy is going to help us out with that. At this point, we're doing really well. Both my podcast and this podcast are doing well. I do believe you said you've even seen a little bit more movement as far as your videos go.
Yeah, it goes up and down, but I've seen a couple. Seen it grow just a couple subscribers here and there, which in the long run, you don't have to subscribe, just watch the videos.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask Kev, is there anything you want to plug?
Right now, just mostly my YouTube channel, and that's really just about. I'm doing a lot of live streaming over on Twitch TV. That's twitch.tv/WhiteSwordTV. It's about what I'm doing right now, mostly.
All right. Well, I've got the Universal Hate Machine podcast going. I just listed episode 4, called Just Be Nice, which is, as I told you earlier today, it was kind of an inside joke with me and some of my coworkers. I have a boss that constantly tells me to just be nice, and I told him that he finally pushed me to the edge so that I had to rant. And I have to admit, man, doing the Universal Hate Machine is oddly enough giving me a sense of calm, because once I get that good long hard rant out, suddenly it's completely over with, and I'm perfectly clear to focus on other things like our SithTalk podcast. And, of course, my wife, Pseudo, has been working on segments of Star Wars history, which will be featuring in future episodes as well. And my big thing right now is I'd like to see a bit more listener response. You're able to contact us at SithTalk@gmail.com. You're able to drop the reviews on iTunes. And to be honest, I really don't care how many stars it is at this point. I'd just like to see a few more reviews, a few more people that are interested. And if anything, hit us up on Facebook and like the Sith Talk page just so that we can get more people interested.
Yeah. Yeah, because, more people the merrier. The merrier.
Merrier.
So, come on, give us your feedback, we don't want to sit and beg on it for every episode. But it is a little frustrating to see these numbers go up and down, up and down, up and down, and us moving and getting featured on websites, and then to think, okay, maybe we'll have some kind of feedback, and it's Zippo, and it's like, man,
well, I'd
what the hell?
Feedback just because I want to see what the listeners think of us, and honestly see if there's anything that they suggest that maybe we can throw into the podcast as well. It does add to the community for us.
Yep, it does, and so it's feedback is all we want, and even if people aren't listening, I think we'll still end up recording it anyways, just because I think we enjoy it.
Oh, I definitely do.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll call that an episode, man.
Well, watch your saber and don't light it up in your pocket.
Yep. Everybody, have a nice day, and Akamagosh.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Sith Talk. White Sword and I would like to thank you for joining us. You can find us at facebook.com/SithTalk. Follow us on Twitter at SithTalk. And feel free to send us your questions and comments at SithTalk@gmail.com. Thanks goes to Podomatic.com, our podcast host, Free Play Music, and Music Alley for our music. And until next time, remember, peace is alive. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free